Good morning, strangers. It's Thursday. My idea for this video comes from Jessica and Anook's 5 Books That Changed Me video for 365 Nerds. This is my video response to that. When I first watched it, I immediately came up with 4 books that changed me, so here they are in the order that I read them. 1. Hank the Cow Dog. This was the first book that I ever read. As a child, I loved reading, but hated doing schoolwork, so I refused to do any of those alphabet worksheets. I just thought they were the dumbest thing ever, and I was not having any of it. So of course my mom was very surprised on that fateful day, which I will now reenact for you. I want to read a book. Okay, let me go pick one for you. I want to read this book. You can't read that book, it's too big. Let me go pick a different one. No, I want to read this book. Okay? So, is it a good book? I'm on the first page. Well, what's it about? It's about a dog named Hank. 2. Heidi. If Hank the Cow Dog was the first book I ever read, Heidi was the first book to introduce me to a new world. Reading this book for me was like opening a door in my mind and seeing just how far reading could take you. It was the first time I understood the value of stories and some of the vastness of imagination. You know that look on a child's face when they learn or see something new and they're just enchanted? That's how this book made me feel. 3. Oliver Twist. This is the book that made me fall in love with Charles Dickens. I think I was 12 or 13 when I first read this, which, as I think we can all agree, is a pretty crappy age to be a girl. It was around this time when my family moved in with my grandmother who had Alzheimer's to take care of her. There were a lot of things that happened around this time that gave me reason to not be the happiest camper. I remember it being summer and I had nothing to do, so I watched a lot of movies. I watched all 3 Lord of the Rings extended edition, bonus features and all. Eventually I got tired of movies and started looking for something else to do with my time so I wouldn't just be sitting in my room being sad. One day I was looking at the books in the little library there and I saw Oliver Twist. And I remembered my sister telling me how much she hated that book because she took some English class and had to read it. I was a defiant little girl, so I decided that if my sister hated it, I was going to love it. And I did. The words were so beautiful and perfect, the story and characters were interesting. It ended up being my favorite escape. I call it my therapy book. 4. The Lord of the Rings. I grew to appreciate this book long before I ever read it. As you can tell by the tape on the spine and the pages falling out, this is a well-loved book. I saw the movies before I read this, I'm sorry to say. The movies are good, but they can't capture the world that this is. Reading The Lord of the Rings is like an experience. One reason being that it is so long. Honestly, I tried to read this twice before and could never make it past the Council of Elrond. But if you do make it past that, if you see this experience through to the end, it is very rewarding. There's so much beauty and tragedy and hope, and words that echo in your ears, and characters whose acquaintance you will be glad to have made. This book makes me feel like spring after winter, like sun on the leaves, and like trumpets and harps and all of the songs that I've ever heard.